question about charter school. You are in favor of more charter schools. Around here, people are often talking about the need to change the funding formula.
Yes.
What's your position on that?
Well, you know, first of all, I support charter schools as a part of ed reform. I don't think I'm not a universal charter school person. If that's what you're asking me, I think they're an element in our ed reform, and I think as a model they can be very good charters, right? Because they're not all great. When asked in early days about lifting the cap, my response was consistently, we should talk about lifting the cap when we fix the funding formula, which I think it does not work, either for school districts or for charters, actually. The charter proposal we have made is to raise the cap, not eliminate it, but raise the cap in areas where the school districts or the schools are chronically underperforming. And that bill is a companion bill with the Readiness Schools bill. Do you know what that is? The Readiness Project is something we worked on for a year, which was about the next chapter in school reform, a 10-year strategy. And Readiness Schools are another form of intervention, if you will, where a university or a museum or a group of teachers or concerned parents could come together with a plan for how to take a school to the next level. And the most aggressive of these varieties of readiness schools is a complete takeover by the Commission, reserved for the most extreme circumstances. Charters is a part of that intervention strategy, again, for underperforming school districts or schools. And I just felt we couldn't wait anymore, because we just keep leaving. You know, we've got these marvelous outcomes Commonwealth-wide, first in the nation on NAEPS, third, sixth in the nation on in the world, on math and science on the TIMS measure. But there's this small proportion of our young people who are stuck in the achievement gap, and they tend to be kids of color. They tend to be poor kids. They tend to be kids with special needs, and kids who speak English as a second language. And so we said, well, look, how do we bear down on that and not be so carried away with our achievement overall that we aren't paying special attention to how to eliminate this achievement gap. So charters came up as a part of that strategy, and without waiting for a solve for the funding formula, because we haven't been able to figure it out.
Why is that so problematic?
Why is the funding formula problematic?
Why is it so to solve the problem?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I mean, one is there are you know, poverty has a real impact on the ability of many students to focus on what has to happen in class. If you're hungry, if you're afraid for your safety, if there are issues in the rest of your life, I'm not saying this doesn't happen with all children, but it is one of the elements that is cited by folks who have studied the achievement gap. So how do we create a school that has wraparound services in it, that has support for parents, that adds mentoring as a special element, that extends the school day, so we can start to get some real results. And in some of those, and so essentially what the readiness schools are about, frankly, like the best of the charters, is breaking through some of the stuff that gets in the way of having a really great, well-supported teacher in front of those students, who is motivated, who is working with the parents, and you know, and I think there's some lessons here that we could learn in turnaround schools, and that we have learned from other places, that we could learn in these experiences here in the Commonwealth, that we can then scale up to the rest of the system.
Oh, we probably have like 5 or 10 more minutes.
15.
Okay. So, other question?
I have a quick question. There's just been a report out about the
vast increase in accidents among drivers that are using cell phones and texting while they're driving, and Massachusetts does not have any laws, I don't believe, on the use of cell phones and texting devices. Are you going to, do you have a, is it something that your office should initiate some sort of legislation?
I actually think there's a bill, there's at least one bill pending.
Is there?
In the legislature. I'm very sensitive to this as the parent of young drivers, and I know it's not just young drivers. I will tell you now, when I'm on the highway, especially commuting, have you noticed what people are doing behind the wheel?
Yeah, I have noticed. That's what I have a personal interest in this too. It's scary.
Yeah, due respect to your line of work, they're reading the paper. They're putting on the makeup. I've seen the driver texting while the passenger was steering.
Yes.
It is scary out there, what's going on. So to me, the texting while driving is easy. Meaning the notion of banning that seems to be pretty straightforward. The question of cell phones while driving is a little more complicated, because I would have thought that the sort of thing, I think New York does it now, where they say you have to have a handheld, you can't have a, excuse me, you have to have a wireless.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, yeah.
Right.
You can't have the unit. Is it Connecticut or New York?
It was Connecticut's lawsuit. The Attorney General sued to force the Bluetooth law.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue there, if I'm, please.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought the issue there initially was that the technology that was required to pass Connecticut law was a very specific technology rather than a broad-based solution that would get the cell phone out of your hand.
Yeah.
So then there was a counter move to broaden what could be used as the hand-free device.
Right,
So
and now the study is showing that even the hands-free devices.
That's where I was going.
reduced.
The term is hands-free. I was trying to think of the some states have moved to ban everything but hands-free, and now these studies indicate that the hands-free is at least as distracting. So I don't know quite where I come down on that. As someone who does an awful lot of my own business on the phone in the car, but right now I have the help of the state police, so I'm not driving. One day I'll be driving again, and I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I want to do there.
Okay. But there is some sort of legislation that's
There's
happening,
at least
so.
one bill, and I can get you the bill number and the sponsor. Would that be?